Welcome back to Trehafode. Our fantastic village has grown from nearly nothing over 3 years and 5 gut-wrenching episodes. Moonlight bathes everything in a calming glow. Just ignore the dozens of corpses at our gate. They attacked us. We're still the good guys here, even if, we're gonna be adding a lot more corpses to the pile. Look, there's a lot of gear to clean up, but first, I need to put in some more graded doors to replace the ones that got destroyed during the last raid. I can't blame them for wanting to get into our village though. We've got everything. A town center that's admittedly purely decorative. It still needs a little bit more to fill it out, but I've got an idea in mind that'll spruce it up nicely. Our smithery is also in, and the master smith himself, Clement, has made us a litany of some of the most powerful armor and swords the game has for the nearby armory. But you saw all those corpses at the gate. That's why we need every advantage we can get. Our grand library doesn't need anything, but William still busts out a few casual theses every morning, even though we've unlocked every technology. Every masterwork he makes brings him closer to maxing his intellectual stat out at 50. We've got a lot of limestone blocks ready, but I fear that it won't be enough for the over-engineered idea I had in mind for upgrading our defenses. I'm going to be building paths to the far side on every floor so that our archers have a clean line of sight to shoot down at this little choke between these graded doors without there being any cover in the way. Using bricks for this isn't practical, but I care too much about looks to not use so much of the most expensive material in the game, even if a one-level basic wooden tower would accomplish the same thing. The town forum gets more decoration. The apple trees need to get moved over. I put them in last episode, but somehow missed that they weren't evenly spaced. Then, even more brick paths can go in. I just love the look of bricks and apple trees. It'll also stop them from slowly growing offspring nearby. You can already see one in on the left. Keeping this web of bricks will actually prevent that, and keep things looking nice and tidy. We're going to continue the marksman training started in last episode. The villagers that need it grab the weakest bows in the game, stand at max range in this trench, and shoot at each other from behind full cover. The chance to hit is almost zero, but they still get experience for every miss anyways. Accessing that new floor at the front takes some very delicate deconstruction work. Anyways, I may or may not have made the floor collapse all the way down. It's not that I messed up, it's just that I wanted a bird's eye view of the ground floor and this is the fastest way to do it. I'll fix it eventually. All of this takes a lot of stone, but our miners are also needed to clear that front gate out. I'm going to leave a 2x2 path in on either side for an entrance and egress. Then work a tower into what's currently at the bottom of the screen. I also need to work on another booze cellar though. The current one we have is great for fermenting, but it's a little bit too warm to store the finished product, and they're slowly turning into vinegar, all while the front continues to have steady progress made at the rate we make limestone bricks. This honestly doesn't look as nice as I'd hoped, but it is something new, and exploring these structures and ideas is just part of the fun of going medieval. I also think it should work pretty decently, which is a nice plus. Well, I guess we get to put that to the test. I was worried this would happen. We're getting attacked before all the defenses are in. I don't think we can even reach the top level on that tower right now, but a lot of enemies have come knocking at our doors. All our villagers run to the front of our base, switch their training weapons for the real ones, then our villagers can fight with pathing for a bit to get in position. That took a while, so the enemies are probably at our gates. Or, not? I guess we're not the only ones fighting with pathing. Is there no way out of that pit? No, there is. There's a very clear path to my base. Let's send a scout out there. There's doors in the way, but that's never been an issue before. The enemy should be attacking them. But yeah, as soon as Willem steps outside, they all start jumping into action to mob him. But not quite. Weird. He's right in front of them and they're still just milling about. I think my village might be getting a little bit too big for pathfinding to kick in properly, but they do eventually come after him. He can retreat once they're nice and hooked. Hello, everyone? You want to shoot to protect Willem? Alright, time for Willem to run. Let's go, keep shooting. Yeah, the game's definitely starting to chug. Hey, Willem, I told you just to leave. Oh, stop. Oh no, run, get out of there. Willem slips back behind the doors and the enemies start to meander about again. The game's definitely having issues managing pathfinding for everyone. The enemies don't seem to realize that they can attack the gate and break it down. They just gather there. Our archers keep attacking, and their archers do as well, but their melee enemies just wander around as target dummies. But on the other hand, breaking my own defenses down so that they can mob us isn't fair either. And this isn't as free as it seems. Their archers actually tear William up. I try to pull him back out of line of sight so that he stops getting hit, but he runs back in to fire again quickly enough that he gets knocked out. I think a crit might have actually killed him there, but he is going to stay safe for now. After focus firing down their archers one at a time, their melee fighters continue to just stand there as they get shot down. It takes us almost 6 straight hours of firing those crossbows, but we eventually win the fight. There's already so much gear littering the ground that we don't need to try and kill any of the stragglers for more. But cleaning all of this up can wait until after everyone eats and sleeps. They deserve it. And you deserve to subscribe to my channel. Go ahead, treat yourself. The villagers have plenty more work to do. The Great Hall still needs space to store booze, and our defenses need a lot of improvements. Kind of. Keeping everyone stacked on top of each other did end up working out pretty well in the last fight. Admittedly, that was sort of helped along by pathfinding. It also means that a miss from an enemy archer can end up hitting a different villager, and I think keeping them on different floors should avoid that, so we're going to continue building the full tower. The Busole gets a little bit of nice wood flooring to stop everything inside from getting dirty, and there's also more training to do. I'm not going to do it for everyone forever, mostly because it's just a little bit micro-intensive to set it all up and check who's hit their experience cap for the day, but I want everyone to eventually have a skill of at least 15 in either melee or ranged, whichever they specialize in. That'll let them wield the strongest weapons. Oh, and we should start hauling those corpses too. Anyone that just happens to be running nearby can grab one. There are so many that it takes 4 or 5 colonists all evening to get it done, but it does mean that we eventually clear out the inside. There are still more outside of our walls, but I don't care about them as much. Although people are going to be running out there to get gear to break down. They've got nice stuff. They can take that mood hit. The main towers are still going up, but I noticed that the funnels on either side that let enemies through aren't as long as our archers' range. Let's fix that by upping them to 29 tiles. That's increased from the base of 25 by the archers standing on high ground. The tower is continuing to make good progress itself, although we've used up all 600 cut limestone bricks we had at the beginning, plus what we've made in the interim. A blight hits our crops, and while the pop-up said that everyone should try to weed it out, yeah, no, I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I mean, I have literally thousands of raw food. Wenna and Wallace are doing an excellent job stocking our pantries. Hell, most of what they've grown recently rots in the fields where they harvested it, but we never have enough stone. We've got the first 3 levels fixed in the main tower, so it's time to add the actual shooting platform on the far side. That's going to be some floors across these beams to stand on, then some rallons for cover. Alright, that's 6 of the 8 I eventually want to have. Let's get to breaking down all that gear at our gates too. I've got enough gear for everyone, so the armory and forge can also help with that. Now William, who's been helping forge ingots, can also help break the 80-ish pieces of metal gear we've gotten down. I have enough iron that actual recycling is kind of wasted, but this still gives some experience, and it stops the gear from just cluttering the place up. Unfortunately, the other Busole is not done quite soon enough, and we now have a lot of vinegar. That might help if I needed to preserve anything, but I think this is fairly useless. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments if I just don't know what I'm missing out on. Ooh, sheep. You know, every time a wild animal has arrived so far, it's been on its own. I know you can get 2 in one event. Have I just been unlucky and gotten 1 like 7 times in a row? After a bit of debating, the lead up to the forum gets some more fruit trees. I might be a late stage apple addict. Screw all this village building stuff. I'm just gonna make every single tile on the map an apple tree. Well, let's brick off both sides. I do think what we had before, where it was just a brick path in the middle, might look better, but there's no way to know for sure until we try it out. In the front, we can access the top level of the tower now, so we can start putting in the last walls on the other side and up top. That means it's gonna be done soon, although maybe not soon enough. Our trusty quarry has thousands of iron, gold, and silver, but we're running dangerously low on just plain limestone. I think there's a lesson in there somewhere, but I don't believe in learning. We can get limestone at a quarry outside our walls, although it is slower and riskier. I might be being too extra with our defenses. So let's add more to them. The last floor goes in, making sure that 8 of our 7 archers can hit enemies from the best spots. Let's also put the last stairs in. Once we finish everything I've planned, I think it'll be about done. Up front anyways, the rest of the village still has a little bit more work to do. The forum gets an expansion, which is going to require I shift the staircases a bit. You can't relocate these, so I'll just be deconstructing and rebuilding them, which wastes more stone. The magic of editing means that it's the next day and all that's all done. The platform can get expanded, giving room for a cartography table. This is useless, since I don't actually use the one I already have, but I think it's a good look. It's like a war planning room, or a town map for people to discuss what new buildings should go where, as if this is a democracy and not a weird world where they're controlled by an omnipresent but sometimes very, very stupid me. I think Clement would be the mayor? He's got a good speech skill, but it's not just that. He's well liked by everyone. The old guard rooted for him while he grew as a person, and the new folk know that they're safer because of his gear. Man, I'm really bad at camera work for recording right now, hence the excessive zooming in or out and rotations. You know, I try to cut that out, but I often can't. I'm trying to improve this so that I can get peaceful shots like this. God damn. Oh, that is a lot of enemies. Let's get everyone rocking the right armor and weapons. Equipment management makes us all a little bit faster, which we do need. The forest bandits are back in force. They aren't the river bandits we liberated Jacoza and Hunla from, but they're just as bloodthirsty. Everyone gets in position again and yeah, they're still not attacking like the last guys. This is super annoying. As soon as I send someone out, they start charging. Let me try disassembling these front doors. Yeah, that seems to be maybe working. Okay, definitely working. I've used multiple doors before without issue, but they just don't like these for some reason. Our villagers are angry that they've had to wait all day, and they've been training all season. Between that, increasing our skill across the board, and upgrading a couple to better crossbows, our archers cut through them. Enough are still there to mob through and get past while our archers switch from firing away freely to focusing down theirs. If you notice any choppiness, by the way, it's not you or YouTube. The game really starts to chug and drop frames on my end during recording. Burgwinna takes some hits, but we make quick work of their archers before it's too much of a problem. The melee raiders mobbing our doors look to be more of a problem though. Our archers can move over, revealing a flaw in this defensive plan. It takes a while to move everyone to their own level, and without pausing, I just sort of send everyone to the same spot with one click instead. It doesn't stop them from getting into place and firing away while Christine and Cedric put in work at our doors. Okay, pull back, pull back. A single brutal blow took off almost half her health, but she's such a fiend for a fight that doesn't stop her from trying to run up again, nor the door from going down despite her best efforts. Thankfully, we've killed so many that the raiders retreat just moments before it can get too messy. That's another long raid, another litany of corpses to haul off, and gear to break down. Neither fighting all day yesterday nor being pretty badly injured stops Christine from wanting to brawl and train though. Cedric refused to hit the wounded woman, so she roped Herbert in instead. Our crippling need for limestone has us going outside our walls, but with the fresh raiders dead, no enemies will dare try to attack us right now, and this should be pretty safe. Another cow's been trained. Pelusa will help haul, bringing us up to 5 in total. I'm obviously cutting a lot of their contributions out, but it's a huge help. Even after the nerfs, cows still seem to haul a good amount. I'd wager that they're acting as 2 or 3 full-time hauling colonists right now. We have 13 beds for 11 colonists, but I want to finish this last condo, so I'm going to add one more in. Limited stone availability has hindered our builders core for so long that it's nice to see them handle something that they have all the supplies for. Christine, Cedric, and Jacoza are half done by the time I finish planning everything. The forum can also get the last decorations put in place. I think those will finish it up nicely. And honestly, that's the last project I had in mind. The front tower gets a roof, but our village is looking pretty clean. Alright, I promise that this is the last time I gush about how pretty this game looks, but just watch a thunderstorm start to hit our village. It's probably the last time anyways. I doubt I'll finish this, but I do need another project to work on now that the current ones are all done. And that's going to be a wall around the backside. This is entirely pointless, but it's going to feel better to be surrounded by solid stone than nothing. Eventually, I make it back around to the front and the bridge joining where we start with the plateau that houses our residential and agricultural areas. I still remember when Winna, distraught by Mabel's death, rushed this otherwise pointless bridge in to have an easier time accessing the woman's grave. William helped her with the project, even if he couldn't help her with the grief. Now, that bridge can finally get the aesthetic upgrade it's deserved all along. Though I think Winna is going to be content letting Cedric and Jacoza work through it. She knows that they deserve happiness together even if she'll never get to enjoy that particular joy again. The library gets a few special theses queued up. I missed the moment, but William finally hits 50 in research. He's not our first 50, Willem has a skill of 50 in cooking, but it's still a monumentous occasion for the wonderful genius. The day's training also gives Christina a melee skill of 15, while Clement works on a fine longsword for her hands through the window. Herbert will handle the two-handed mace Christina was rocking. Alright, this is another look how pretty and peaceful the game is moment, but you also get to see the wall. Oh, not again. Every time I try to zoom out. 51 of them, almost outnumbering us 5-1. No trebuchets though. I think we're taking so much damage in all these raids that they aren't spawning in, so yay? This fight's especially choppy, so apologies if you're seeing frame drops. Without that second door, the enemies actually moved towards us this time, although they started so far away that we have time to get everyone into position regardless. In fact, we've actually got enough time to put a couple Merlans in it and rush order them. I noticed our melee fighters were getting shot by a few archers last fight. This should halve the damage they take from that. It gets finished just in time. Good lord, it feels like 20 stream in 5 seconds. I would definitely fill this corridor with traps if I wanted to be effective, but that just sends the wrong message to merchants we never buy anything from. True power isn't just the capacity for violence, it's the ability to temper how you inflict it to never risk affecting innocence. Except for the 2 traps we do have there. There are so many enemies that it's hard to actually focus down their archers. Oh no, don't run forward, get back, get back! Even with a more clear path in, the enemy melee fighters still mill about out here a lot. Some do charge forward to get chopped down by our melee fighters, but most just sit here and hide their archers. We eventually kill all of their ranged fighters and move our own over. No, stop running out, Jacoza. She and Herbert really have death wishes. Oh my god, please retreat, please. Oh, thank god. The archers are in position, and they literally shouldn't be able to miss with all those targets in front of them. Our stronger melee line keeps the grated door safe this time. It does take a lot of bolts, but we eventually shoot enough dead that the survivors flee. Between dropping frames from such a big village and all these pathfinding issues, plus the lack of interesting building projects to take on, I think we're done growing this village. But we've accomplished so much. Burgwinna has her wonderful garden everywhere she goes. Cedric gets his adventurous life, full of fulfilling work and someone he plans to propose to as soon as he finds the right moment. Clement's overcome his fear of failure and become a mastersmith that makes the finest armor in the lands. Christine is pleased that we kept her safe, although unbeknownst to everyone, she does plan to slip away in the middle of a foggy night soon enough. Herbert's a master tailor who sets fashion trends with his new outfits every year. Hunliff gets to help us slaughter hundreds of the kinds of raiders that enslaved him for most of his life. Jacosa's disfigurement hasn't stopped her from building and fighting to her heart's content, nor from finding a partner. She's gonna end up proposing to Cedric before the man finds the perfect moment he's waiting for. Theodric does have more work than he'd like, but his slowly warming hearts earned him respect in a way he never thought he'd get. Wallace gets to harvest fine flax in service of Herbert's tailoring, and there's even a sheep farm getting started to add wool outfits. Willem has all the apples he needs to cook anything he's ever wanted to, and a wonderful family to make them for here. William runs the nicest library in all the lands, and friends that visit him there just to read what he's written. You know, I've enjoyed making this series so much, and I've learned a lot about storytelling and camera work for a couple big one-offs or short series in the coming months. That said, I definitely will be doing more full playthroughs like this in the future as more updates are released for this amazing game. Just to be a bit of a tease, let me say that the next big one-off I have planned is my favorite project in Going Medieval so far. That huge tower of mine manned by 11 trained fighters armed with the best gear isn't as good of a defense as this seemingly plain floor. But that's for later this month. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you've enjoyed the series, subbing means a lot. I'm nearing the 1,000 mark. I hope you'll all join me for what I've got coming down the line.